Breaking right now, the British royal family mired in one of its biggest crises in history.
Not sure what I'm able to bring. It's what all these very brave ladies tell me.
In a shocking and unexpected development, Princess Anne has reportedly blocked Queen Camilla from participating in Prince William's coronation planning meetings, triggering what insiders describe as a serious internal divide within the royal family. Behind closed palace doors, tensions are said to have reached a breaking point, turning what should have been a smooth and unified transition of power into a quiet, but deeply consequential power struggle. Rather than making a public statement or causing open confrontation, Anne is believed to have acted with characteristic precision and silence, simply preventing Camilla from being included in early strategic discussions about the future coronation. Palace aides later revealed that for weeks, confidential briefings, invitations, and high-level planning sessions had been circulated among a tightly controlled inner circle aligned directly with and Prince William, yet Camilla's name reportedly appeared on none of them. The exclusion was neither accidental nor subtle. According to sources, Camilla only discovered what was happening after members of her own staff questioned why she had not received a key planning memo that would normally have crossed her desk automatically. Those close to Clarence House say she felt blindsided and deeply betrayed, believing she had finally secured her place within the institution, only to find herself quietly shut out. True to royal tradition, she made no public protest, but within palace walls the message was unmistakable. This was a deliberate boundary being drawn. Some insiders claim and acted purely out of loyalty to William, aiming to shield him from internal tensions, while others suggest the move reflects a deeper struggle over influence, legacy, and authority within the monarchy's future. As word of the exclusion spread, speculation intensified, and it became clear that the atmosphere inside the palace had shifted. Without a single public word, the Queen Consort had been reminded that her role in shaping the next chapter of the monarchy may no longer be central or even welcome. The situation was carried out quietly, without flair or personal drama, exactly the way Princess Anne operates. She has never chased cameras or courted headlines, but when she moves, the palace notices. Beneath her calm and disciplined exterior, however, a long-simmering tension had been building, largely centered on Camilla. From the time Charles and Camilla re-emerged publicly as a couple, and reportedly maintained a cool and measured distance. As Camilla's journey transformed from controversy to Queen Consort, Anne's stance did not noticeably soften. While other senior royals appeared to make visible efforts to embrace Camilla, and kept strictly to protocol, no public warmth, no shared initiatives, just formal acknowledgement and little more. According to insiders, this distance was never rooted in jealousy or personal animosity, but in principle, and is said to believe deeply in hierarchy, duty, and the idea that rank must be earned through decades of service, rather than reshaped through public rehabilitation or strategic image management. To her, Camilla's rise secured through marriage and gradual public acceptance felt complicated, if not institutionally uneasy. One palace insider even recalled a quiet remark Anne allegedly made after an event at Balmoral. Some people wear the crown for duty, others wear it for appearance. No names were mentioned, but those present reportedly understood the implication. When Charles ascended the throne, Anne's concerns are said to have intensified. Camilla appeared more involved in discussions of protocol, more visible in ceremonial matters, and increasingly confident in shaping her public role within the monarchy. To Anne, this was not simply confidence, it risked becoming overreach. She reportedly viewed it as an attempt to redefine the boundaries of the Queen Consort's role, rather than operate within its traditional limits. Tensions allegedly surfaced behind closed doors during major state occasions, with claims that Anne intervened when Camilla stepped forward in ceremonial exchanges. At one diplomatic reception, and is said to have firmly redirected a conversation Camilla was leading with a foreign envoy, not as an act of rivalry, but, in her view, as a necessary correction. Privately, and is believed to have raised her concerns with Prince William, cautioning that blurred lines between symbolic support and substantive influence could destabilize the monarchy's carefully balanced structure. Her worries, sources suggest, were less about personality and more about institutional integrity. Though never publicly acknowledged, some royal watchers believe these conversations marked a quiet turning point, possibly influencing the decision to narrow Camilla's involvement in early coronation planning. From Anne's perspective, it was not punishment, it was protection. Meanwhile, tension between Prince William and Camilla had reportedly been building in subtle ways for some time. It was never loud or openly hostile, but present in restrained exchanges, polite smiles that felt strained, and conversations that ended without true resolution. According to a source close to the Prince of Wales, a recent private meeting at Clarence House brought those undercurrents to the surface. During that confidential discussion, William is said to have drawn a firm line regarding future roles and influence within the monarchy, only to be met with resistance rather than agreement. Whether that moment truly marked a deeper divide remains unconfirmed, but insiders suggest it may have crystallized concerns that had long been quietly growing within the royal household. The private meeting that was meant to clear the air instead exposed just how deep the divide had become. In public, Prince William had always performed his role flawlessly calm, respectful, and measured. But behind closed doors, the pressure had been steadily building. He had watched as Camilla stepped more assertively into ceremonial spaces, spoke with growing authority, and positioned herself in moments he believed were meant to represent the monarchy's future rather than its past. What began as quiet unease had evolved into something far more consequential. For William, this was no longer personal, it was about structure, order, and safeguarding the meaning of the future crown. When he requested the meeting, he did so not as a stepson, but as the Prince of Wales preparing for kingship. His aim was straightforward: a calm conversation about boundaries and a respectful request for space to define his own reign. According to those familiar with the discussion, William spoke directly yet courteously. With coronation planning underway, he explained that he needed room to lead, to shape the symbolism and direction of his future role without feeling overshadowed. He asked that Camilla step back from key planning meetings, particularly those tied to ceremonial decisions that would define his time as king. There were no accusations and no raised voices, just a restrained but firm request. Camilla, however, reportedly did not interpret it as intended. Sources claim she responded with a faint smile edged in cool detachment, remarking, "It's all symbolic tradition, darling, nothing more." To William, the comment felt dismissive and unwillingness to acknowledge the weight of responsibility he carried or the fact that the moment had shifted. In that instant, insiders say, his composure faltered. Breaking from his usual restraint, he delivered a sharp reply that reverberated long after the conversation ended. "This is not your crown to shape." The words landed with finality. There was no shouting, no dramatic confrontation, only a heavy silence. William then stood, ended the meeting, and left without waiting for a response. The following day, he met privately with Princess Anne. The timing was no coincidence. Whatever uncertainty had lingered before was gone. The conversation with Camilla had crystallized his position. This was no longer about personal discomfort or strained family dynamics. It was about defining authority and protecting the future of the monarchy before lines of influence became permanently blurred. For William, the issue had evolved beyond personal discomfort. It was about authority, public perception, and the long-term legacy of the monarchy. Princess Anne reportedly agreed without hesitation. Together, they made a quiet but decisive choice. Camilla would be excluded from further coronation planning. There would be no announcement, no confrontation, just careful execution. Meeting agendas were adjusted, guest lists refined, communication channels subtly redirected. Planning sessions continued seamlessly, only now without Camilla's involvement. The palace, long accustomed to operating through unspoken rules and silent signals, adapted swiftly. It was not framed as rebellion, but as realignment. William had drawn the boundary, and had reinforced it. Camilla, however, was unprepared for the shift. When she eventually realized what had happened, insiders claim her reaction was intense. According to sources, she expressed anger and disbelief, reportedly declaring, "I am queen inside Clarence House." Yet beneath the frustration was something deeper: fear of diminishing influence, fear of being quietly sidelined. The discovery did not come through an official briefing, but through an administrative oversight. A staff calendar update referencing a coronation planning meeting at Kensington Palace, where her name was absent. Initially assumed to be a clerical mistake, the omission took on new meaning as inquiries were met with silence. It became clear she had not been overlooked, she had been deliberately left out. Advisors are said to have urged restraint, reminding her of the importance of composure within royal protocol. But the significance went far beyond a single meeting. To Camilla, it symbolized a broader erosion of relevance in decisions shaping the monarchy's future. Reports suggest she sought a private audience with King Charles shortly afterward. Behind closed doors, a tense exchange allegedly unfolded, though, as always, no official acknowledgement followed. Observers say Charles listened, but offered no decisive intervention. He neither challenged William's position nor publicly defended Camilla's involvement. That silence, insiders suggest, was telling. For years, Camilla had worked carefully to rebuild her public standing, gradually securing acceptance within both the royal institution and the public eye. Yet this moment revealed the limits of that ascent. The future of the monarchy, it seemed, was already being shaped, and it was being shaped by the next generation. The institution that had once shielded Camilla now seemed to be shifting without her, and for the first time, she appeared to be standing outside the inner circle. Retreat, however, was never her instinct. Behind the scenes, she reportedly mobilized her advisors, and the tone moved from quiet acceptance to strategic recalibration. Discussions allegedly included the possibility of exclusive interviews, carefully timed public appearances, and subtle media briefings designed to reinforce her relevance. The objective was not to publicly expose internal fractures, but to regain footing within them. Yet despite these efforts, the reality was unavoidable. William's coronation plans were advancing without her input. Alliances were strengthening, key decisions were being finalized, and a narrative that once positioned her within the center of royal continuity was quietly being revised. In royal dynamics, visibility often equals influence, and for the first time since becoming queen consort, Camilla appeared to be watching her prominence diminish, as her struggle for relevance met resistance. Another figure was steadily rising. Catherine, Princess of Wales, stepped forward without confrontation or ambition on display. At William's side, she projected stability, clarity, and a sense of continuity deeply rooted in public trust. Where Camilla's position felt contested, Catherine's presence appeared effortless, calm, composed, and naturally aligned with the monarchy's next chapter. The shift was subtle but significant, and within palace circles it reportedly reshaped the balance of influence. According to senior staff, Catherine's involvement in early coronation discussions was far from symbolic. From the outset, she is said to have contributed meaningfully to the tone and direction of the ceremony. Rather than simply replicating tradition, she reportedly encouraged an approach that felt relevant to a modern audience, one that honored history while signaling renewal. Sources suggest she advocated for greater youth participation in the procession, symbolically placing the next generation at the heart of the event. She also proposed ways to pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth II that would respect legacy while gently guiding the monarchy forward. Her style, described by aides as thoughtful and unshakably steady, reportedly won quiet confidence in every room she entered. Unlike more visible assertions of influence, Catherine's impact was understated. It was not announced or asserted, it was simply present. Palace insiders describe her working relationship with William as collaborative rather than hierarchical, built on shared purpose rather than rank. Together, they appeared to operate as partners shaping a future vision, reinforcing the sense that the monarchy's next era was already taking form calmly, cohesively, and with deliberate unity. One insider summarized it simply: where William brought strength, Catherine brought balance. Together, they were shaping the coronation in ways few within the palace had anticipated. There were no dramatic announcements marking Catherine's growing role, no grand unveiling of authority, just a steady, composed presence that became increasingly impossible to overlook. The palace never formally declared her rising influence because it didn't need to. The public seemed to sense it on its own. After years marked by scandal, tension, and fatigue, many found reassurance in Catherine's quiet steadiness. She appeared polished yet relatable, elegant without arrogance, visible without seeming to seek attention. Polling trends reportedly reflected what advisors were already observing. Public support was responding less to titles and lineage, and more to authenticity. In that authenticity, Catherine was emerging as a symbol of trust, something the monarchy urgently needed. What made the shift even more striking was that Catherine never appeared to compete with Camilla. She did not seek to replace her. She simply embodied the direction in which the institution seemed to be moving. Behind palace walls, as influence subtly realigned, one reality became clear to careful observers. The future queen was not waiting for a crown to define her role. She was already acting within it. Yet just as William and Catherine's vision appeared to settle into place, a private meeting threatened to unsettle the fragile balance. In a secluded setting at Windsor, King Charles summoned Princess, and for a deeply personal discussion. According to sources, the exchange was tense but controlled. Under mounting pressure from Camilla, Charles hoped and might reconsider the decision that had effectively excluded the queen consort from coronation planning. For Camilla, The exclusion felt like a public humiliation. For Charles, it represented a fracture in the unity he had worked for years to restore, and, however, did not arrive to retreat. True to form, she approached the matter not as a sister safeguarding feelings, but as a custodian of the crown's long-term stability. Charles reportedly appealed to loyalty and redemption, emphasizing Camilla's endurance through years of scrutiny and her belief that she had earned her place. "She is my wife," he is said to have remarked, less a declaration than a plea. Anne's response, according to insiders, was calm and unwavering. She did not raise her voice. She simply reaffirmed that the monarchy's future lay with William. By the meeting's end, Charles was left confronting a difficult truth. His authority, while symbolically absolute, now operated within practical limits, shaped by succession and generational transition. Camilla, once his steadfast refuge during turbulent years, had become a focal point of division rather than unity, and departed without dramatics, no reconciliation, no softening of the exchange, leaving behind an unmistakable shift in tone. There would be no staged gestures of harmony to quiet speculation. In the days that followed, palace aides moved carefully. An official statement was drafted with deliberate restraint. When released through formal channels, it emphasized ongoing cooperation among senior royals in support of the Prince of Wales. It mentioned no internal discord and offered no operational details. Most notably, Queen Camilla was not referenced at all. That omission quickly drew attention. Commentators observed that in royal communication, what is left unsaid can carry as much weight as what is declared. The repeated focus on supporting the Prince of Wales signalled where the institution's centre of gravity now rested. To seasoned royal watchers, the message felt clear. The monarchy was aligning itself firmly with its future. Whether this marked a temporary recalibration or a permanent reshaping of influence remained uncertain. But one conclusion appeared undeniable: the balance of power was shifting, and it was shifting quietly. Inside the palace, the comm presented to the public was little more than a performance. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere was reportedly tense and tightly controlled. Internal memos circulated with clear instructions: stay on message, avoid speculation, and do not engage with the press. Staff were allegedly advised to deny knowledge of specific planning meetings, and, most notably, to avoid referencing Camilla's name in any coronation-related discussions. It was described as a coordinated effort to contain the narrative, minimize fallout, and preserve the image of unity. But once speculation had surfaced, maintaining that image became increasingly difficult. Sources close to Camilla's circle suggest her team felt blindsided and deeply unsettled. The concern was not simply exclusion from certain meetings. It was the broader implication of being written out of a process central to the monarchy's future. Some advisors reportedly encouraged a measured public response, while others urged patience and quiet dignity, hoping time would recalibrate her role. Yet in an institution where visibility often equals influence, even perceived absence can carry symbolic weight. Questions naturally followed. Was the carefully worded palace statement personally approved line by King Charles? Did it reflect Prince William asserting greater authority as heir? Or was Princess Anne's institutional influence shaping decisions more firmly than ever? The official communication offered no answers. Its language was calm, concise, and intentionally vague, emphasizing collective support for the Prince of Wales while omitting any direct reference to Camilla. For royal observers, that omission spoke volumes. Amid growing whispers, attention turned to reports of a private letter Princess and had written to King Charles weeks before the reported exclusion. Though never officially confirmed, insiders claim the letter expressed concern about the monarchy's long-term stability. Written in Anne's characteristically formal tone, it allegedly warned against allowing personal relationships to blur institutional boundaries. Without naming anyone directly, she is said to have stressed the importance of discipline, clarity of roles, and protecting the crown's credibility in an era of intense public scrutiny. According to those familiar with its contents, Anne described Prince William as a crucial bridge between tradition and renewal, and endorsement that underscored her confidence in the next generation's leadership. Whether the letter directly influenced subsequent events remains unverified. What is clear is that the monarchy, like any long-standing institution, faces the challenge of balancing personal dynamics with public duty. The episode, real or perceived, has fueled debate about influence, succession, and how power quietly shifts within even the most tradition-bound structures. As always with royal matters, much remains behind closed doors. Public statements project stability, while private conversations shape direction. The question many are left asking is not simply who holds influence today, but how the monarchy will navigate its evolving future tomorrow.